We'll throw in the battery absolutely free. Yes, you heard right. You get one free battery with the purchase of any steel professional machine.
PS la fille, PS désordre. Merci papa.
Visit Europa in Massad Grosley or call us at 452-0763. Europa, we service what we sell.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, teacher.
Let's head back to school.
Yay!
It's time to get the children ready to head back to school with a back-to-school loan from First National Bank. Get up to $30,000 for all your back-to-school needs. No deposit required, low interest rates, and an easy process. Visit any First National Bank location or call 455-7127 for more information. Let's head back to school with First National Bank. Terms and conditions apply. First National Bank, here for you.
St. Lucia, get ready for the third annual Zouk Blanc, the ultimate all-white event on Saturday, October 5th from 7 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. at Project Chocolat in Soufrière. Dance a night away with St. Lucia's #1 band, DYP, Groovy Soca King Sly, and legendary DJs Hollywood HP, Sir Lancelot, and DJ Shocking. Tickets are $100 EC. Available now at the sell outlets, Mambo's Bar in Soufrière, or online at fourcirclestickets.com. Get your tickets early. There will be no door sales. Zouk Blanc, where elegance meets island vibes. Proudly sponsored by Bank of St. Lucia.
It's coming. The brunch of the century. Welcome to Sunburnt. 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 It's coming. Loud and proud. We are the new #1.
For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
With regard to the crime problem in St. Lucia, the Prime Minister of the island references similar situation occurring in a number of jurisdictions, including Canada, London, and other parts of the Caribbean. St. Lucia is getting all set to welcome its hero, and that is Julian Alfred, returning to the island on the 24th of September. And, of course, the 27th is a holiday. But going forward, will it be Juju Day every year, September 27th? We'll find out in the course of our broadcast this afternoon. And a concerned citizen says the gun violence will not cease because we are in the last days. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We'll be interacting in just a bit at 452-2979, and that is 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. We hope that you are having yourself a fantastic day today. As you would know, the crime situation in St. Lucia has dominated this broadcast over the last few years. Obviously, because it is bothersome, it is taking an emotional toll on so many people in this country. It is unsettling. And also, we've been taking note of what has been happening in a number of the regional territories. And we have been hearing from time to time reports of gun violence in the United States, not time to time, but very often in the United States, particularly at learning institutions. And of course, exposed to the international media, we hear of gun violence and violence of one nature or the other in London, in Canada, elsewhere. But not to sound selfish, shouldn't be more preoccupied with what is happening in St. Lucia and try to see through some miracle whether we could come up with various initiatives that maybe could be a discovery, could be some kind of novel idea, so that those ideas can be borrowed by other jurisdictions. Instead, what we have in St. Lucia is an administration that is not taking responsibility for the quality of its leadership as far as crime is concerned. And no situation relating to gun violence is the same. What is happening in London in terms of the violence that would have been caused by a number of factors. You have immigrants, you have racism being a major issue in the UK. In the case of the United States, you have lax laws, and people are so free under the Second Amendment to bear arms. And in Canada might be a totally different issue. Likewise, St. Lucia. And in the case of St. Lucia, if we had the resources of, let's say, a Canada or the United States, and if our crime fighters were better trained and also corruption was not an issue, I am sure that crime would be at imaginable level in this country. Added to if we had the political will, because sometimes you can have the requisite resources, you could have the trained personnel. If you do not have the proper leadership, then it amounts to nothing in terms of the results. I have reached a point where I am just so tired of hearing the Prime Minister speak on the nation's crime problem. And as much as we want to hear the National Security Minister speak on those issues, he seems to be melding various things. If he's talking about crime, then he talks about politicians and what he's saying. And I suspect that is a strategy that is being employed. So you talk about the rhetoric. And he's saying that let's try to lower the rhetoric and the blame game, as if that is what that's causing the spiraling crime problem that we are experiencing in this country that is definitely overwhelming us. What we have in this country is our inability to reduce on the number of illegal arms and ammunition that are in the hands of evil doers. And the guns are entering our shores, entering our borders with too much ease. That is at the heart of the problem. And maybe you have some people who are facilitating the entry of those illegal guns and ammunition into St. Lucia. Does not mean that if we remove the guns and the illegal ammunition from the hands of criminals, then they will not find some other weapon, some weapon of choice. But right now, what we are experiencing is a proliferation of guns and ammunition. We have a problem when it comes to protecting our borders. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing so many law enforcement officials, including police commissioners. And I remember on several occasions, even after he retired, interviewing former police commissioner, the late Cuthbert Phillips. And they keep saying the porous borders, the porous borders, the porous borders. Easily penetrated. Don't we have the technology? That's why sometimes you want to call them senior citizens, but in some cases people want to be derogatory and they say old people. You have too many old people in the system. We need to have some more young people in key areas in this country. I might not believe it, but I think that is required. Because if you speak to some young, intelligent people, I am sure that as much as you want to talk about coming up with archaic prescriptions, they will talk about drones. They will talk about other forms of technology that we can utilize. And maybe something that is affordable as well. We are just prepared to stomach what we are going through because we have a particular mindset that there's nothing we can do about the problem. In the meantime, we have some scarce resources. How investing those resources is questionable because we are not reaping the results. We continue to provide the police with vehicles. And the Prime Minister has been boasting about this unprecedented investment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force since he came into office. But what do we have to show for that? There seems to be an unwillingness. That's how it comes across on the part of the Prime Minister of this country to find a solution to our crime problem. Because what he keeps telling you is that lower the temperature, lower the rhetoric, let's unite, and this is a serious problem. But Mr. Prime Minister, marshal your forces. And the Prime Minister is always reluctant to address the perpetrators of crime directly. He seldom does that. And if he does it, it's en passant. Instead, he focuses on his political opponents. And I'll prove this. Because he had sufficient time during the pre-cabinet press briefing yesterday to speak directly to the criminals of this country. And I know very often people say, we need to hear from the Prime Minister. We need to hear from the Crime Prevention Minister. But it is basically what they are saying, what they are communicating to you. I mean, you could always call on somebody to issue a statement. But sometimes it's basically a waste of time hearing from key leaders in our country when they have to address critical issues. And in the case of the crime problem, the Prime Minister would go around the issue as opposed to addressing it directly, but just taking the opportunity, the platform, to focus on political opponents. When he said, for example, let's try to lower the rhetoric and the blame game. In terms of lowering the rhetoric, the National Security Minister is always giving the impression that those who embark upon dividing this country would be his political opponents. People you might describe as detractors. I mean, right within the government. On every opportunity that is provided, we have people dividing this country and making all kind of incendiary remarks and not focusing on the issues that are affecting the people. Instead, they would vilify people, insult people, etc. So, right within the bosom of the government, there are people who are guilty of exactly what the Prime Minister is preaching against. And I do not get a sense that even based on his rhetoric, his approach, if on that alone, we can expect a reprieve as far as the serious crime problem in this country is concerned. Let us listen to the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for national security speaking on the crime problem in St. Lucia and referencing what obtains over in Canada and London.
You heard about the crime escalation in Toronto, Canada, where our St. Lucian was just murdered, a 15-year-old. We heard about the crime problems in London, England, where there are riots and gangs. In fact, only this morning I read about the increase in the gang situation in England. We heard about the situation in the CARICOM countries. So it's not an easy situation. We can't come here and I can't come and tell you that I have all these solutions. We are trying. And that's all we can do. We can try because it's not a science. It's not something that you can see, you can find the exact answers. No one, if anyone, can come up with an exact answer to the gun violence in this country. We will take it, absorb it fully. We're not in this business to try to gain points on each other. We're in this business to try to make our country safer for all of us. It's not safer for one part of the society, safer for all of us. There is nothing to be gained by the wanton gun violence in this country. None be gained either politically, socially, or economically. So I want to urge everyone, let us try our best to lower the rhetoric and the blame game. It's reached a point where all of us, because no one has come up with a solution. It's a very difficult, this crime situation is creating problems in our health services. When there's a shooting or wounding, our emergency services suffer. It's been calculated that it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to deal with any gun-related wound. So it is pervasive. It's at different levels of the society. The time for the blame game, the time for playing political games is over. There's no time for that. No one will benefit. That's why I'm calling on a lowering of the rhetoric, a lowering of the blame game, a lowering of the sarcasm, a lowering of the let's lower the tempo, and let's aim our resources at the people, the criminals who are perpetuating the crime. It's a serious situation, very serious. that we have to deal with. We go to Barbados later this year, heads of government, to continue a symposium on crime prevention all over the region. I don't want to call countries. All over the region, there seems to be that scourge of gun violence all over the region. So I just want to plead to everyone, let's lower the rhetoric. Let's stop the attacks and the strong language. Let's lower it for the benefit of our country.
That is what is at the heart of the nation's crime problem. The rhetoric and the sarcasm. This is a really serious issue. Okay, but I just can't help it. I just cannot help it. The Prime Minister does not have a clue as to how to lead this country. Does not have a clue how to lead St. Lucia. And I know that some people will be taken aback, but if you listen to the Prime Minister speak on the crime problem, something that he has to address directly, and he's meandering, he's swerving, he's just, I just don't understand how the Prime Minister, with all his experience, he is the National Security Minister, he is addressing a problem that is impacting the entire country, but yet still, he finds time to point us in the direction. This is unprecedented because if you want to make an excuse, and politicians like to make excuses, they have always pointed us to Jamaica, Trinidad, and in certain circumstances, when things are in a state of, when things are chaotic in Guyana, they reference Guyana. But I've never heard a politician, when serious crimes are occurring in this country, reference London and what's happening in Canada. The Prime Minister just does not know how to address critical issues without politicizing them, those issues that are impacting the people of St. Lucia directly. And the Prime Minister is running away from his responsibility. That is your responsibility, to come up with the solutions to the very serious problems that are impacting us. And so, crime is very much an issue, whether it's occurring in any other jurisdiction. That is what we ought to be preoccupied with, what is happening in St. Lucia, and whatever solutions, whatever ideas, whatever policies that could implement, that could entail changing certain laws, that could entail reviewing our gun laws if we have to do it all over again. But instead, the Prime Minister is just comfortable passing the buck and making excuses. Talking about excuses, one that we use as a crutch. We rely on this. We depend on it. We use it as a source of comfort. We come across as being helpless when we say that there's nothing we can do about the crime problem. We are in the last days. Those things are inevitable. Let's listen to a concerned citizen. And at the time, speaking to a DBS reporter, he was making reference or reacting to the homicide which occurred in Boapatat on Saturday.
Even though I say I want it to cease, and I know it would not cease because of what the Bible say about it. In the last time, people would be cruelty. Even though government come and government go, it will not cease. They would cease a few months, and after that, it would go back viral. It will not cease.
So it's not cease. You know, taking a fatalistic approach, that this was destined to happen, It is happening now, and it will only continue to happen. That is fate. So we can't do anything about it. And I'm sure that the Prime Minister would readily embrace that kind of thinking because it removes direct responsibility from him as the National Security Minister to address this major scourge that we are experiencing in this country at this point in time. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Once again, 716-2026 for your WhatsApp calls and messages. Let me go through some of your messages right now. And somebody says via WhatsApp, if the Prime Minister is making reference to crime in the UK and Toronto, he needs to go to see what they are doing in Ottawa and even New York, where crime is lower than in Ottawa, and the reduction of crime in New York. Let's take a call on the landline. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yeah, Tim, how you doing?
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Tim, I just called to just make a short contribution because I have reason why I'm not calling yet. Yeah, Tim, that caller, I heard him some time ago saying on whatever they have by the road. That's saying, like, give up all hope that it is written is destined to happen and so on. I want these brethren to be really careful the way they go and proclaim and make people believe the word of God. It is true that the scriptures say that evilness shall be increased. But God never told us to give up. He told us that for we to be on the alert, to put everything we have by God's grace to fight against those things that people will turn away, oppose the wickedness, speak against injustice. There are many places in the Bible God decided to, a nation had a lot of crime and so on, and this time and so on. And God sent his servant to speak against these things and warn the government, warn the king and so on. Some of them heard, and then they turned away from the wicked ways because they heard the man of God. And God spared the land. Some did not hear and God destroyed. So when people come and say, well, it is written, this is not, just quote the whole scripture, please, please, I'm just begging people. If it was like that, God would not tell us, man, to go and speak against those things. He will not tell us go action, go in the highway, the byways, stand up for what is right and so on. It is say you do that because it is written already, it's going to happen. So brethren, please, those of you hearing me, do not misquote the word of God, okay? Just take one thing of the Bible. Like some time ago, I had to call a lot. I've tried many times, I'm not getting through, and I'm not up to date. But Rick misunderstand what I said some time ago. That's why I give them the scripture verse that leave everything to God. No, God give us power. He give us authority over this world to control the world. He put laws there for the lawless. He put all these things there, not the devil. But we have corrupted the system because we fall in love with money. All these crimes happening there. There are some people I know that love it because they gain from it. But we must wonder, the scripture say, what does it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and suffer the loss of his own soul? It's greed that causing that. So we have to go out there and fight, as I said, against these things. Oppose it. Be a tongue. Whether concerned citizen, I heard somebody said a while ago from Viewport. Well, all of them are quiet. Nobody is speaking because we are greedy. We want favors from politicians and so on. We are not standing up and speak against all this wickedness that's ungodly. Man, that's why I didn't want to call, because I just want to warn us again, be careful how we use the word of God. And those of us, or those people that are fighting for justice, don't never stop. And don't come and tell me on radio or anywhere that Canada have that, the United States have that. I don't care, not to say I'm concerned whether I have it, but I'm not going to come compare St. Lucia with other countries because they are prime. You will say because your child going to Ave Maria school and half of the class is involved in drugs and so on. What's wrong? My child cannot do it? No, you have to correct the child and show him the right way. You just don't come and just put people there and so on. It's just like a football team, a cricket team. You have a captain, okay? The wicket keeper caused you to lose the match or he's not doing good. You will say, I'm not the wicket keeper, I'm the captain. That's nonsense. You're in charge of the whole team. And you know, I heard politicians, my prime minister talking about peace, okay? Of course I want peace, but we got to speak peace and act on peace. Because all what I heard people saying, politicians, when they go to the house where they're supposed to discuss the business, the future, the wellness of the country, they are throwing words for each other. That's what people elect politicians for, to go in the house and throw words for each other. Man, Tim, and let me tell you something, one more thing. I said I was not saying. We're going to celebrate Julian Alfred. I'm telling you, that's one of the biggest hypocrisy. Okay? And I don't believe it's genuine celebration. I believe all these things are political driven and all these things and so on. But I'm glad some of them mentioned the people that went and represent us and did not do as good as Julian Alfred, that their name are being mentioned at last. Because the same thing what you want, I say, what's about the other people? Nobody said nothing about them. When Julian Alfred was hustling, nobody was supporting. Now I see everybody advertising Julian Alfred. That's how it is in this country. And one more thing, we always say this color, this, that man not doing nothing. St. Lucia full of lazy people. They are lazy and they are not concerned about work. All what they're concerned about is money. No work ethic, nothing. And it's time we change that attitude. You look at Chinese and all these people working, man, they put all into it and so on. You know why? We are lazy because we like handout. We like people tell us, look, but we don't want to sweat. And when you're climbing up the ladder, they know all how you get the money. They try to pull you down. They do go out at Obiaman to pull you down when you're hustling and you're doing good. And then they come and say, oh, thank God for that person and so on. He did sweat. I was there when he was sweating and so on. But at the back of you, they're trying to destroy you.
Okay, Brother Harris, thank you so much for your contribution. All right, in the chat room, somebody says, in Canada, Tim, we only have about 57 homicides, and Canada is a much bigger place than St. Lucia. I think St. Lucia has surpassed this number. Let's take another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Timothy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Good afternoon to you, caller.
It really becomes me. I am noticing something. The Prime Minister is talking about and want to make a passionate plea on the radio, you know, or on his press briefs or whatever he's doing it. But listen to this example of the Prime Minister of Antigua. You know what he did? The model, he used a model that was used for the Crips and the Bloods by one of the greatest black actors out, and NFL football player, broke many records, Jim Brown. Okay? What Jim Brown did about 9 years ago, he brought 500 of the most dangerous criminals and gang-banging murderers, gang members to his house. He spread in California. You know, every one of them came. When they came there, he introduced them to his family. He showed them his wife, his children, everybody. And he lectured to them about conscience, etc., etc. He told them that he's going to have a foundation to help them, so they stop shooting at the LAPD and gang-banging each other. You know, today, the Crips and the Bloods don't fight anymore. You know, if you go down to California and Rodeo Drive, you see all these kind of nice, beautiful boutique huts. They are run by these gang members. They work side by side. They are business people now. They're doing what they're doing, and they don't kill one another. The only people that's coming to California and do it are Venezuelans. That's messing up the norm. So what happened? He has a foundation that every business person and the celebrities in LA, put money into that. He sent some of them to school. Today, I know quite a bit of them, number of them. That happened a long time ago. They were Crips and Blood gang members, and they went and played for colleges. Today, some of them are the best players in the NFL and in the NBA, especially the NBA, because a lot of them like to play basketball on the courts, and that's where they started all their fighting. Prime Minister Brown from Antigua followed the same model, but not exact. What he did, he called the big brass from Antigua Police Force. He said, I want to talk to you. And he read them the Riot Act. He said to them, the clips are there. You know, friends didn't have to send me, journalist friends didn't have to send me from Antigua. He said to them, you get paid every month to do a job. I can tell you, quote unquote, who the gang leaders are in Antigua. I can tell you where they are. If I can tell you where they are, how come you can't? You better go and do your job, okay? After he said that, all the gang leaders got together and he had a meeting with them. And he, first, before he started out, he got serious with them. He said, I have the military and I have the police force. You all make a decision, what you all want. They all conceded. And right after the meeting, there was no gunfire. And Antigua only has between 7 murders, 6 or 7 murders, I can't remember. In the Caribbean, the lowest.
I think there are about 10 homicides so far for this year.
10 now.
About 10, yeah.
Okay, so you say 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when he was successful in that, the head gang member says they were so glad.
Okay, in the case of our Prime Minister, I think he has too much of a hands-off approach. As if he does not want to get his hand dirty. He does not want to get involved. He's in his ivory tower looking down at what is happening.
Correct.
And depending on law enforcement and everybody else to do what is required of him, which is to lead in finding the solutions to that problem. That is what is required of the Prime Minister. I don't know if the situation improves in the years to come, whether we can attribute that to the direct intervention of the Prime Minister, or if it's, well, things are weighing on the conscience of the criminals. They've decided to give us a break. But the Prime Minister, in terms of the optics, he does not look as if he's serious about fighting the crime problem in this 2x4 territory.
Yeah, but there's something that bothers me. What he did, he gave thousands of dollars to agencies. 2 agencies. I don't want to mention their name. I guess you probably know them, Tim. 200,000 and 100,000 to another one. That other one got money from Canada, saying that they're going to try and stop the gang banging and the killing in Vieux-Fort. That didn't happen. That was not it. Prime Minister Brown never gave any money. He told them he's going to start social skills, education, and you know what they did? He invited their mothers that were killed, and the mothers of all these gang members, every single one that was in the meeting. He spoke to them yesterday, and he told them it has to stop. And all the mothers, some of them were crying, some of them had red eyes, you know, and that's how Prime Minister Brown went to it. Philip J. Penn never went, or Kenny Anthony, into the areas of the Mang, Boothville, and Walk.
Well, there was one such visit. There was one such visit by the Prime Minister. Remember, he went there with his entourage. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but Alan Shaftney went there with the rap Grammy Award winner that's in the House of Belief, and all the members were around him. So how come Mosa, who is right next door, cannot do it? Labrie, who's right next door, cannot get in the South together with these fellas and sit down and have a chat like Prime Minister Brown did and use some kind. But he thinks like delivering money to certain agencies, how can they quell that? Dr. King, I know for sure, he was in California at a gang meeting. They had a summit with the Bloods, the Bloods and the Crips. The time Jim Brown went into that, you know, and everywhere, the business corporations. In St. Lucia, Corporations don't care. They don't care, Tim. And just one last thing, Tim. They have to stop using Julian Alfred, the corporations. When she wanted help, they were not there. There was one big institute, the First National Bank, but they didn't. The amount of advertisement these corporations are doing to Julian Alfred, if she was in the States, like Sha'Carri Richardson and all the rest, no allies, she would amass close to about 20 million US. They get it for free, and they're overdoing it. You understand? They're using the girl, even for their political, ways, how they're playing it like a trickster, Atari or Pac-Man, gobbling her fame, And that lady, according to a journalist I from the States was telling me, she's a nice young lady, very quiet. She don't boast like the rest of them. She don't have no fuss. She just go and make her talents and athletic way prove the call. And because of that, they're using her. These corporations have to understand that they're supposed to be paying that lady. And if they're going to have a holiday, especially when Earl Bousquet say in his article, Chronicles of Something from The Voice, they should have no holiday. You understand? Because the Jamaicans, Price, Sharika Jackson, and all the rest, when they were going fame, Jamaicans didn't have no holiday, but they started beating everybody in the world. So she's beating people in the world. You know what they gave each of them? $1 million US and a dream home. So when she comes in on the 27th, I would suggest to Kenson Casimir. He went to Grambling, a school of sports. You know everything about Grambling Athletic, and the NCAA giving money to the students now. And they're making millions. The students in these black colleges and NCAA first division, they're making millions. One young guy is driving a Rolls Royce. He's a quarterback for Colorado State, and all the rest, they're making $1 million, $4 million. The basketball girl, she was worth $17 million, and she was playing for Oregon. Julian went to Texas, University of Texas. You understand? And she's so quiet. Nobody represented her to get the money, while other athletes were getting more money than her, and she was queen of the track. And now St. Lucia government is making a whole fuss.
Okay,
A dream home.
we'll have to end there. Thank you so much for your contribution. Still to come, we'll be hearing from a former police officer, and he says you might as well stay home because no one is safe. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. NewsSpin.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, 285-3329, or 285-8640. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
6 more. Just just a flick of the wrist.
The CPL action lives at KFC as we add an exciting new item to our menu. Introducing the King's Box. The King's Box includes 5 dipping wings undipped, 1 piece of chicken, 1 regular fries, and a 16-ounce soda for only $20. Purchase a King's Box for a chance to win VIP and regular tickets to the King's cricket matches in St. Lucia, KFC vouchers, and other prizes. Participation is simple. Simply sign your name and number on your King's Box receipt and place an entry box provided at all 5 locations. Promotion runs from August 1st to September 16th, 2024. Look out for pop-ups, photo-ops, and memorabilia sign-in from the King's players at selected stores. The T20 action continues with KFC. Purchase a King's Box today and be on your way. KFC, finger-licking good.
Yes, into the crowd. 6 sixes and then over.
This is We Summer. Get ready for the biggest and wildest deals from Flow.
Summer comes with a best that's for ya. Switch it up, this is We Summer. Flow says this is We Summer. We Summer. Hey.
Who got the best deals? It's Flow. But the postpaid Wi-Fi you go. Cut your bill in half, save more for sure.
This is We Summer. Bundle broadband now with postpaid and get your bill cut in half. Plus, get up to 4 Samsung Galaxy smartphones for only $4.
50,000 in cash is that. 15,000 in cash, win that.
Win $15,000 in cash when you sign up, switch up, top up, or pay up with Flow.
Summer, Flow says this is We Summer. We Summer. Hey.
Flow, keeping you connected. Terms and conditions apply.
It is well known by all St. Lucian professional tradesmen and even homeowners that European-made tools are the best. Well, guess what? Europa Hardware is having a massive promotion on the Metabo brand of power tools. From impact drills to angle grinders, jigsaws to rotary hammers, sanders and hot air guns, all at unbeatable, jaw-dropping prices. Don't let your tools let you down. Come to Europa and stay standing with a proud in-the-hand tool from Metabo. Call us at 452-0763 or visit us in Massat Grosine. Europa, we service what we sell.
Don't miss out on the biggest sale of the year at Palace House. Everything must go. Half off and less on everything. But that's not all. We also offer wholesale prices on a variety of items and souvenirs, perfect for vendors and retail needs. Visit us today at Mikut Street, Castries, or call us at 452-2250. Don't miss out on the biggest sale of the year at Palace House.
It's coming. The brunch of the century. Welcome to Sunburned. 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 It's coming.
The CPL is back for 2024, and the St. Lucia Kings are hunting for their first title. This year, it will be the best ever CPL, with global superstars, massive sixes, and incredible entertainment. The biggest party in sport. There are 4 games between September 7th and 15th. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Turn it up and experience cricket played louder.
Attention men, are you worried about your prostate? Then get a multi-parametric from now until the end of September in commemoration of Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Don't guess, know your status. Speak to your doctor or urologist, or just make an appointment by calling any of the La Clinique de Corps branches in Castries or Rodney Bay at 451-6559. That's 451-6559.
I've seen your hair before, and I have something special just for you. What have we here? Happy housewarming to me? That's the MNC Home Depot Rewards Card. You'll earn points every time you shop, plus exclusive savings and promotions just for you. Just for me? Yes, just for you. Shop in store or online and enjoy a seamless experience. So I get to treat myself every time I shop? Exactly. It's time to reward yourself.
MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Rewards Card. Sign up and reward yourself today at www.mnchomedepot.com.
At Caribbean Pastors Limited, we offer high-quality products from Martinique, and our ready mix is made with casting sand, not regular pumice. Compared to regular pumice, casting sand saves you in your cement use. At Caribbean Pastiche Limited, our materials come from porcelain stones, which is used as an additive in creating cement. Caribbean Pastiche Limited is located in Bexar, behind Essential Hardware. Give us a call at 489-0074. We're open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sundays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Caribbean Pastiche Limited. Quality construction, our priority.
I could advise my friends. Let me tell you, stay indoors, stay away from trouble, stay away from the public as much as you can. Tim, because you have no protection out there, you know. You have no protection. We have no protection. We go to church, we are vulnerable. We go to our public activities, we're vulnerable. We go to the beach, we're in trouble. If the good people of this country stay quiet, remain quiet, Tim, this country is going to grind to a halt.
Contribution made on yesterday's broadcast by a former police officer. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see there if we have a WhatsApp message. And somebody says there, sorry, Tim, your Prime Minister is being disingenuous when speaking about my country. England does not have anything like your gun crime. Yes, recently we had a few problems for a short time with organized thugs rioting over immigrants being housed in 4-star hotels. But the difference is here. The arrests that were made, and they were many, the perpetrators were in court within 24 hours and were sentenced and imprisoned within hours of sentencing, no bail. And the person says, and by the way, Tim, the regular police force in the UK still do not carry guns. The population of England and Wales is 60.9 million, and the total homicides for the last entire year was 581. We have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. And how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay, Tim. So Tim, I'm just calling to make a contribution to the topic here this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that apparently a lot of the blame is being placed solely at the feet of politicians. And even before this administration came into being, the gun violence and all of that was around. And people still place it at the sole feet of the politician. The reality of the matter, Tim, these children didn't born into the homes of only politicians. They came out of our homes. You there, Tim?
Yeah.
They came out of our homes. Our parents, the parents of these children, were the ones who saw them coming home with stuff that they know full well they did not buy for these children. They like said in Calypso, they didn't search their school bags to see what's going on in their school bags. So now, what's happening now is that the parents did not do due diligence at home because they did not monitor well enough. And even when the police came to intervene in certain situations, the parents were the ones telling the police officers to leave their premises for those very same children. So what's happening now that we're ready to castigate politicians and crucify politicians from both sides of the spectrum, we have to take an internal look. We have to look at the hypocrisy within ourselves. The hypocrisy with some parents, both mothers and fathers, who refuse to do due diligence when their children came home from school. And when it's 9 o'clock or 8:30, these children are supposed to be doing their homework from about 5, 6, 7. They are not in the house. 9 o'clock, their parents are home, but they are not there. They're on the block with those drug barons and other persons who have greater influence on them than their parents. So, and what did the parents do? They sit at home and they wait for these children to come, and there's no punishment whatsoever. This is the seeds that we have planted in. And listen to me, I do not know of any politician to date in St. Lucia whose son or daughter had found themselves wanting in those situations. I do not know. Maybe it's a situation where there might be one or two.
Let me put it this way to you. Let me put it this way. I don't have the evidence, but I'm certain that there are a few instances, and in particular, and let's not even talk about politicians, where people who are well connected, they are prominent people. Sometimes they can pick up a phone, call the police, call etc., and say, please release my daughter or my son. Now, if I could identify you, you're right. You don't mind me identify you, right?
No, you could identify.
Renan, Calypsonian, Tricky. I think you in Canada now, or you back home? You in Canada?
I'm back. I'm back home.
You're all right. You're back.
But the point I'm making.
But listen to my point. Listen to my point. You spoke about the hypocrisy and the fact that this whole problem starts in the home. But let us make reference to the United States. Just recently there, one individual had a firearm in his possession, went to his school and gunned down 2 fellow students and 2 teachers. That's in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And injured 9 other individuals.
Yeah.
What has happened to him? He was arrested. He has been charged. What happened to his father? What happened to his father?
His father got arrested too.
And charged as well. So you have 2 layers there. In the home, if you don't take care of what's happening in your home, and it filters into the society in most jurisdictions, Canada, elsewhere, you pay the price. In the case of St. Lucia, what I'm saying, there's a level of policing that must be done on not only on the inside by parents, but also on the outside as well. We are not catching the criminals, and that is the responsibility of the authorities. And who is at the helm? Who is at the helm is the Prime Minister of this country. He's also the National Security Minister.
So, Timothy, I take your point that the father got arrested. But, Timothy, the reality of the matter is these very same people who's supposed to be protecting the home or looking forward to the, in terms of guiding the children, they are the ones who have all the evidence as to who the children had issues with. But you know what? They're not going to speak out in fear for their own lives, because even some of them have spoken to some parents and they cannot speak to their own children in fear that their own children will turn against them and they're going to suffer the consequences. So, Timothy, when we look at it, and I'm here in the program today, and I was a little disturbed or perturbed at the way in which persons are laying it solely at the feet of politicians.
Not solely. It's not solely.
And I just want to add my 2 cents here, that when these problems started in the household, and then they grew into other things, and now they have become a public nuisance, and persons are dying, all of a sudden we want to turn on politicians. And I'm talking about politicians. I'm not talking about Labour Party or both sides, because I've heard that argument before when United Workers' Party was in power. Oh, people dying and all that kind of stuff. We need to go to the root of that problem. It starts in the household. If the argument was give parents the necessary tools to deal with those things early through social programs, I agree with that. But when people start calling religion and saying about how much million they give her and politicians responsible, I will not sit and listen to it, Timothy. I believe that we are a more intelligent society than that. And that song was sung years ago. Go back to plain Carolyn colors. What they find in the school bag, go in the school bag and you will see what's going to happen today. What was in the school bag yesterday, this is what we're reaping today. That's my contribution, Timothy.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. But you see, a lot of those problems that you're talking about, caller, which emerge from the home, they are reflected in the behavior and exhibited in the behavior of children when they go to school. Now, it still boils back to our leaders. So you go to school, you exhibit certain behavior and certain characteristics, but you do not have the requisite resources in the school to deal with those problems. You hardly have a sufficient number of counselors and trained teachers to deal with those issues. Who do you blame? So if things are escaping from the home, getting into the wider society, that is where the authorities step in. And even when you realize that there are things happening in the home, where children are being abused, women are being abused, men are being abused, etc., etc. We do not have the requisite system in place to deal with those issues. It still boils down to the authorities. Maintaining law and order in the society is the responsibility of the authorities, caller. No matter how you look at it, there's a dereliction of duty on the part of parents. There needs to be a penalty that you impose on those parents for failing to carry out the various functions, so that in the end we could have stable citizens who can make a contribution to the development of our country. It boils down to the state. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Landline call. Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, Tim, we have a lot of problems in this country, and I just want to say, Tim, that tonight we're supposed to be starting a new show on UTV that's going to be discussing a lot of topics like yours and much more. It's going to be starting at 7:30 tonight, and I would like you, your news spinners, what's his name, Rick, all of those people who, have a lot of these controversial views sometimes, we're going to be having a guest as well. So, and we're also going to be opening the lines just like your program. And I want to also take the opportunity, Tim, to thank you, because I'm sure you recognize my voice. I usually call your program. And I think from 2002, I've been an avid listener of your program. And I know sometimes, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. We always agree to disagree. But like I said, I would like to invite your news spinners to the show tonight on UTV. It's on cable, and it's also on Facebook.
All right, caller.
So I'm looking forward to contributions from you and Rick and all the news spinners, okay?
Okay, caller. All the
care.
best. Yes. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, I don't care how you cut it, up, down, left, right, center. The problems we have in St. Lucia, from crime all the way to anything else, including CIP, is a government problem. Government is first and foremost responsible. You can't take it any other way. That's why we have government. It's their jobs. Now, somebody talked about, I think maybe it was you that talked about the young man who killed in school and his parents were
his father.
arrested.
Yeah, his father.
Well, you need legislation for that.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for legislation?
The government.
Government. Parliamentarians. That's who is responsible for it. The schools do not have enough resources. Who's responsible for that?
The government.
It's government. You tell me you send the children to school, or the parents. Children spend more time in school than they do in their homes. We know that. They spend more time in schools. So when the teacher says, hey, listen, I have 40 kids in my class, half of them can't read, I have to promote them even if they can't read, most of them are boys, then they find out we can't read, their friends are teasing them, they themselves lack confidence because they can't read, so they don't want to go to school. They don't want to go to school. Who's calling the parents to say John Smith didn't show up at school today?
More than that, caller, how many truant officers do we have in St. Lucia? I think at one time we had 2. Right now we're down to 1 truancy officer.
That's the point I'm making. Who is calling the parents to say John did not show up at school today? Parent knows John left. John left to go to school, but John never made it to school. By the time the parent knows that John has never made it to school, John has fallen way back. Now he really doesn't want to go to school. So government has to ensure that everyone has the resources. I see Pierre just handing out money. I mean, I hear Richard say all the time, Michael Chasney said, his son gives money and uses it like a child in a toy shop. What is Pierre doing? not using the money like he's never seen money before. He doesn't understand the value of money. 200,000 there, 10 million there, a million there. You know, you see government checks on social media, the routing number, the account number. You know what havoc people can do with that? It's all government. It's government. Let no one tell you anything any different. It's called governance, and there is no governance in the country. When Pierre tells you, "Oh, Philip is not, I'm not his responsible for him. I'm not a police officer. You know, where's the complaint? Why are the lady?" No, that's you, dude. That is you, Pierre. You have to call your home affairs minister and tell her, in less than 3 weeks, I want you to give me something on my desk for the policy for when there's harassment in the schools. You call a meeting with your people and you ensure that they get the job done. Oh, I'm not a police officer. I can't do anything about crime. Of course you can. You can ensure whoever you make the minister is capable. That young fella can't do anything about crime. The police looking at Nathan going like, that's a take caller. That's what's going to happen because he has not yet developed the clout that he needs to even get these people to listen to him.
But more than that,
cooperate with him.
More than that, caller, the Prime Minister has been explaining the rationale for having appointed a minister with responsibility for crime prevention. And he says his job is to bring the various agencies together. You know, that's the responsibility of the minister with responsibility for crime prevention.
He could have given an NGO to do that.
But he just created a job for Mr. Jeremiah Ndoma. That's what he did. He created a job for him.
Well, he's getting pressure from the constituents, and he has to protect the victory. So, you know, you expect that he would do that. But then now he's appointed a new commissioner of police. And I heard folks like Stanley saying on his program in the morning, well, maybe this guy was already working with the police and with the government. He could not have been working with the police and with the government before he got hired, because that would have been patently unfair. It would violate due process. You can't do that. This is government. We need to understand that there is a distinction between government and governance and private enterprise. Okay, government and governance, they do not operate the same way. You have natural justice principles. You have due process that they've just ignored completely because they don't know. Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Has Philip Pierre worked for anybody, anywhere, ever in his life?
I think he has.
Got out of UWI and he opened a little accounting business and he's counting money probably under $1 million for folks. That's what he's been doing. So he does not know how to work, and people have to know how to work. If he knew how to work, he wouldn't have been saying so much that this is not me. I don't know. What are you asking me to? No, the buck stops with you. We have to ask you, and you have to come to the table. And if you can't do it yourself, get people around you with the know-how to get it done. But these fellas generally just keep folks that know less than them around them. So there's never any growth, not in government, not in the society, not anywhere. No growth whatsoever. You know, the country has to grow, and I'm not talking about economically. You know, it has to grow. You have to know how to get things done. You have to know how to do it. You have to ask the right questions. You can't put it under the table. You know, it's Shastney. Take Shastney out of the equation. What do you have? We still don't have the things that we need. School and the education system is the primary responsibility for a lot of the crime that we have in this country. And a lot of people will disagree with me, and I don't have time to explain it here, and I will one of these days. The education system. Most of these young boys on the block cannot read. They can't read. They have done absolutely nothing in school. They don't want to be around school. And if they're not around school, where do they go? I have a young one in my family right now, and I'm on this phone with this stupid little kid all the time. You got to go to school, but you're going to get caught up in this thing. You have to go to school. Oh, I don't have shoes. What the hell you mean you don't have shoes? You have aunts, uncles all over the damn place. You talk about you don't have shoes? No, you don't want to go to school. Somebody has to step up. If it's not family, and most of these kids do not have the family with the know-how to ensure that they get where they need to be, that's government to step in. You have to step in. You cannot say, oh, the parents, you're not checking the bags. You can check the bags, but by the time the bag get in the house, it's not going to have anything for you to find in it. It's not as if the young people are stupid. You know, you can check the bags. You can beat them till they're blue in the face. You can do everything you want to them. But from the time they leave the house to get to school, somebody else has to be responsible. Government has to ensure that the buses taking them home are operating correctly, because they are children. We have to start treating children like young human beings. In St. Lucia, Timamai say, what do you call them? My burden. You bring your burden for me. Children have always been burdens to us, you know. And until we stop treating them like burdens, we're not going to end our situation. Every day is a murder. Every day is a killing. And no one can tell you the reason why. Well, we spoke to this young man. You don't give us his name. You don't give us his address, you know. But we found out that, you know, the children are hungry. That's why they're angry. Or we found out the children have no clothes. They're being teased. That's why they're angry. But there's so much anger among the youth in St. Lucia. But nobody wants to reach out. All we want to do is kill them or put them behind bars. Kill them or put them behind bars. That's it. Other than that, we don't step out. There's some people doing good work on the ground, but what assistance do they have? Nobody can tell me I can't reach these young men. I'm sure I can reach them. But I'm not there. But government needs to do something. It's about time, and don't let anybody tell you, St. Lucia, that this is not a government problem. This is a government problem. Nothing was done 30 years ago that should have been done, and it is not changing. Right now, it's, oh, they did this, so we're going to do it. Alan didn't finish the hospital, so if we don't finish the hospital, we're not going to be so bad. Alan didn't do this, so if we do this, it's not, well, Alan did this, so we can do this. Man, we don't care about what Alan did. People got rid of Alan because they didn't like what he was doing. But have we seen a change in things being done differently? No, we have not. So government, you ought to take the blame. Changing government may not even be the solution. But the people will have to start being a lot more discerning in who they decide to pick, and in your communities, demand who you know is going to do a good job for you. That's the end of it. You know, I don't know what else to say, but it's so sad. I'm asking myself, is there a bigger plan for St. Lucia with all these young men dying? Who's going to protect the women? The women can't see that that's a problem with all these young men dying? Who's going to protect them?
And most of them are between the age of 21 and 30, according to the statistics.
21 and 30, yes.
Yeah, most of them.
It's as though somebody has made a decision to keep our population from growing because this little paradise, well, everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. So kill off all the men. And for those of you young men out there listening, that's not what you want to do. Your generation just come to an end? Kill off all the young men, and then what? You know, then what? Water down the population because then all the Chinese come in. Now there's space for them, or all of the thousands of passports we have out there. Well, now there's space for all these new citizens to come and build their summer homes. They're not even going to come to stay. You know, there's so much going on that's just wrong, and you stay from afar and you listen and you watch it, and it tears you apart because you know there's a better way to get things done. But stop hiring people that have never worked in any capacity. When they come into government, they're going to know how to handle situations. Okay, you have to have some work experience for the job, and a lot of these fellas don't have the work experience that they need for the job. It's the yak, 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 clap, flap, flap. Everything is funny, clown here, clown there. Meanwhile, people are crying, people are dying. Oh, well, we're going to give this a few dollars here. Yes, those few dollars might get you the victory. But what does it do for the rest of the population? The rest of your population better wake up. For those of you who cannot leave St. Lucia, you need to put your foot down and say, nah, you got to do something about this crime. If nothing else, even before the hospital, do something about the crime. Thanks, Timothy.
Thank you so much for calling. Certainly a contribution that was worthwhile, and I could tell you, much appreciated by yours truly. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, some people are vandalizing the flower pots on Lower Labrie Street. And one individual is very much concerned about this. Back in just a bit with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, 285-3329, or 285-8640. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, teacher.
Let's head back to school.
It's time to get the children ready to head back to school with a back-to-school loan from First National Bank. Get up to $30,000 for all your back-to-school needs. No deposit required, low interest rates, and an easy process. Visit any First National Bank location or call 455-7127 for more information. Let's head back to school with First National Bank. Terms and conditions apply. First National Bank, here for you.
This is We Summer. Get ready for the biggest and wildest deals from Flow.
Summer comes with a best that's for ya. Switch it up, this is We Summer. Flow says this is We Summer. We Summer. Hey.
Who got the best deals? It's Flow. Bundle postpaid Wi-Fi, you go. Cut your bill in half, save more for sure.
This is We Summer. Bundle broadband now with postpaid and get your bill cut in half. Plus, get up to 4 Samsung Galaxy smartphones for only $4.
15,000 in cash is that. 15,000 in cash, win that.
Win $15,000 in cash when you sign up, switch up, top up, or pay up with Flow.
Summer, Flow says this is We Summer. We Summer. Hey.
Flow, keeping you connected. Terms and conditions apply.
6 more. Just a flick of the wrist.
The CPL action lives at KFC as we add an exciting new item to our menu. Introducing the King's Box. The King's Box includes 5 dipping wings undipped, 1 piece of chicken, 1 regular fries, and a 16-ounce soda for only $20. Purchase a King's Box for a chance to win VIP and regular tickets to the King's cricket matches in St. Lucia, KFC vouchers, and other prizes. Participation is simple. Simply sign your name and number on your King's Box receipt and place an entry box provided at all 5 locations. Promotion runs from August 1st to September 16th, 2024. Look out for pop-ups, photo-ops, and memorabilia sign-in from the King's players at selected stores. The T20 action continues with KFC. Purchase a King's Box today and be on your way. KFC, finger-licking good.
Yes, into the crowd. 6 sixes in an over.
Gade mweti boy, pa fe la pimela.
Stop all that smoke, fume, and noise. Keep the emissions to zero and be a hero for the environment. You can still do all your lawn mowing, brush cutting, leaf blowing, hedge trimming, even chainsawing, but with a battery-powered machine. Europa is now offering a buy one, get one free on professional battery tools. When you buy the tool, we'll throw in the battery absolutely free. Yes, you heard right. You get one free battery with the purchase of any steel professional machine.
PS la fille, PS Desord, merci papa.
Visit Europa in Massad, Grosley or call us at 452-0763. Europa, we service what we sell.
It's coming. The brunch of the century. Welcome to Sunburned. 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 It's coming.
The gold standard in healthcare. This fully GE certified MRI provides top quality, detailed images detecting any illness, including tumors and cancers of the brain and spine. We also offer the ultimate in ultrasound technology. There is absolutely no need to travel overseas for these services. Exercise your right to a second opinion before any complex medical procedure. La Clinique du Corps puts you in direct contact with top medical specialists from Martinique and France, known internationally for prioritizing patients' health. Call La Clinique du Corps in Castries or Cocoville, Rodney Bay at 451-6559 and make your appointment today.
The CPL is back for 2024, and the St. Lucia Kings are hunting for their first title. This year, it will be the best ever CPL with global superstars, massive sixes, and incredible entertainment at the biggest party in sport. There are 4 games between September 7th and 15th. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com. Turn it up and experience cricket played louder.
To have a strong structure, you must have a strong foundation. And at Caribbean Pastouche Limited, we offer top quality aggregate materials at great prices. We supply high quality ready mix, cast in sand and plaster in sand. We also take special requests for specific materials that you may require for your building projects. Caribbean Pastouche Limited is located in Bexon behind Essential Hardware. Give us a call at 489-0074. We're open from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Caribbean Pastouche Limited. Quality construction, our priority.
I've seen you here before, and I have something special just for you. What have we here? Happy housewarming to me? That's the MNC Home Depot rewards card. You'll earn points every time you shop, plus exclusive savings and promotions just for you. Just for me? Yes, just for you. Shop in store or online and enjoy a seamless experience. So I get to treat myself every time I shop? Exactly. It's time to reward yourself.
MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt Rewards Card. Sign up and reward yourself today at www.mnchomedepot.com.
Let me just take the opportunity to warn those persons. I mean, persons just believe in vandalism. Persons believe that they can go about demolishing everything that looks good. I mean, we have spent a lot of money buying plants, flowers, just to ensure that the place looks good. And some people, for reasons unknown to me, would uproot some of the plants and go with them, or they would break them. They would just engage in behavior that is antisocial as far as I'm concerned. And so I want to ask those persons to at least consider what you're doing to your country. Consider the negative impact of what you're doing.
Just heard there from local government minister and MP for Castries Central, Mr. Richard Frederick. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, yesterday a lot of people called me and sent me WhatsApp. They were so surprised about our topic yesterday. Remember when I was calling all those names?
Yeah.
At Webury?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to put you on the spot, so to speak, and you're free to put me on the spot, so to speak, as well. If I were to ask you, Tim, what would you do if you were a commissioner, police commissioner, or the prime minister, about ameliorating, not stopping, but ameliorating our crime? What would you say on top of your head? And I know you're not an expert.
Yeah, but what I would do is there's some critical issues that I would have to pay close attention to. And that will include get to the source of the problem. Because The Prime Minister is a seasoned individual. He has been around, he knows the politics, etc. There's an underlying problem to what we are experiencing at this point in time. There are some big players in our country who ought to be targeted. And I know you've been making reference to the former Prime Minister, Dr. Anthony, when he made reference to that impacts report and talking about business people and other people and people who are in, leadership position, etc., who might be behind the facilitation of crime in this country. So we need not scratch the surface. We need to get to the heart of the problem. And a lot of those leaders, including our prime ministers, they have a lot of sensitive information that they can utilize to get to the bottom of the issue. I look at it from that perspective.
Not bad, Tim, not bad. Okay, my turn. Can you think of one prime minister in your lifetime who you'd be generous enough to say had crime basically under control?
To a certain
not crime free, but basically something we could live with.
To a certain extent, Sir John Compton.
And do you think it was Sir John Compton who did that, or the times were as they were? There were fewer people.
I believe that Sir John Compton was a special individual. When he addressed the nation, you know that something was up. You had to take him seriously. And at that time, you did not have social media. You did not have so many radio stations, etc. But he seemed to have been the prime minister, the right individual to be at the helm of the country during that particular period. Because we had just about the same challenges. And I'm sure that you can attest to a lot of serious and heinous crimes which occurred during the reign of Sir John Compton, Mary Radcliffe, etc. But he gave you, at least he gave you hope. He gave you some kind of soulagement. He came across as an individual who was preoccupied with the issues of the day, and he was prepared to take some critical decisions.
Now, I love that Creole word, soulagement.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people out there who are fans of your show overseas, I think soulagement means relief.
Yes.
Hope. Give you a relief.
Yes.
Okay? But Tim, how many years does it take before you realize all you're getting there is soulagement and hope, and that is almost bullshit because the crime is getting worse and worse and worse? Because under John Compton, there were some pretty awful things went on, but I don't want to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
There were some pretty awful things went on under the Sir John Compton.
Definitely.
And the point I want to make to you is that as we go along, the criminality, the acceptance of criminality by the populace, the effeteness of the police, the lack of popular respect for the police, all of those things have gotten worse and worse and worse. And right now, we have a government that chooses not to pursue what an investigation ordered by Kenny Anthony, Prime Minister, revealed. The government chooses not to pursue it. There might be even people with suspicions about certain members of the government, suspicions that the government is duty-bound to clear, not allow them to just continue clear. The things that are said about different governments, and it's not just this one, are just allowed to go on until they just die, but nothing is ever done to investigate. We've never had people handling billions of dollars. We had a lot of complaints. We've had a lot of not audited years of being behind with our audited accounts. We just talk about it and do nothing about it. So let's say we're behind right now 3 or 4 years. That has never stopped us borrowing more millions, despite the not accounting for the previous one we spent. We have St. Jude. We choose instead to play sword games. Who was worse? Alan Chasney, Kenny Anthony, and various other who handled it worse, and who will get it done. Nobody talks about the $400 million that went up in smoke, and nobody knows where that goes on and on. So, Tim, I say this to you. I cannot think of one prime minister who had crime under control in his time. Kenny Anthony, again, I must quote him. He said 2 years ago that all of them have done what he called their best to get an amelioration at the very least of crime, but they have lost and crime has won. He basically said that. He also stated that until the matter of impact is resolved, we will continue to have criminality rising, the police having no support, the police losing morale. And talking about the police, look what just happened there with the police. I mean, doesn't it look to the average eye that we're just playing musical chairs with the police force? The gentleman, I'm not putting anybody in, and I'm not blaming, I'm not calling anybody guilty of anything. But the gentleman who is being investigated right now, we are told, for sexual harassment charges. That gentleman was sitting at the meeting when the new police commissioner was delivering his I'm the new man speech, right?
Yeah.
Now a thinking person looks at that and he figures, well, if the deputy commissioner is under some kind of investigation, as serious as that one anyway, do you think it's the greatest thing for the optics and for the assurance of the people to see him sitting there as if nothing happened? Do you think that even looks good?
It ought not to have happened. And unprovoked, unsolicited, a lot of people have been calling me on this particular issue. And they were confused. They were shocked. They were asking, but Tim, why? I mean, why this happened?
So all we have here, Tim, are a whole bunch of nasty questions with no answers whatsoever. Now, your callers, I want to suggest that we must stop confusing bad parenting with murder and people with guns and people who have no conscience whatsoever. Look at another one. It was reported that some people entered a dwelling house in Babono or wherever, and they were wearing police uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you notice the language? They were wearing police uniforms. What evidence do we have that they were not policemen?
We have none.
None. Has anybody even questioned that? Shouldn't we be an urgency about the remote possibility that those guys were bold enough to go in their uniform? When you consider what came out of the impacts investigation, I don't know if these guys were regular guys, and where would these guys get police uniforms from? Because don't forget, police guns have turned up at crime scenes, Tim.
Yeah.
And not only for impact, police guns have turned up at drug busts in this country. I've reported them in detail. So we must stop mixing up bad parenting with a long dysfunctional justice system. Our courts don't work. It takes forever. Tim, let me tell you a very sad story. I get calls, and I can say that, I'm sure you get them too. These guys sneak phone calls from Bordelais, and they will call us and tell us their problems.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you get
You're
them.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, which says something about Bordelais. If that's against the rules, anyway, they're breaking those rules. And this gentleman had called me several times, Tim. And last Friday, he called me, telling me he had a lot of serious problems in his family over land and so on. His siblings, his sisters were being abused, and etc. Long story. And the guy said to me, he wanted me to reach to Mary Frances, reach out. So he was going to send me a voicemail somehow, and I was trying to get it to see what Mary Frances could do for him. At one point in the conversation, this guy said to me, he is of a mind to find himself at the wellness center, that's how he put it, escape from there, and do what I have to do. You hear that, Tim? Mm-hmm. How does that sound to you? Okay. 2 days later, I get a call from his number. Only this time, the person who's calling me is as articulate as you or I, etc., talking to me and So I said, how come you have this guy's phone? And he tells me he attempted suicide yesterday.
Wow.
So just after he talked to you, about half an hour or so, the guy attempted suicide. I was shocked, but I was not surprised given the tone he was. Now that again shines a light. What the hell actually happens at Bordelais? Why do we have 76%, is it 76% of the inmates waiting to have their cases resolved? Why did we have 2 young men who were sent by the courts to be taken care of psychiatric ward or whatever they have here, and they were sent to Bordelais and forgotten at Bordelais until somebody took their case up on wrongful imprisonment or whatever it was and got damages. And I also know, Tim, we don't hear about it. I have the reports. The amount of money government pays for people who sued the government for ill treatment or wrongful arrest and those kind of things, we hear nothing about. As bad as it looks, Tim, on the surface, it is horribly, horribly worse than it is. And the people who should be caring, they don't care because they're looking for little handouts from the government themselves. Or they're looking at, if they have retired, their children can get a break, etc. That is how our governments, in the plural, seem to take care of business, silent people, either with gifts or some $5 or $10 or that kind of stuff. That is how we are running the country. We should have investigated impacts, at least some of the things in impact. We never did, Tim. We never did. Our justice system, Kenny Anthony said, is broken and horrible from the magistrate stage. Kenny Anthony said so when they were debating the CCJ. He said the horror begins at the magistrate's court level. People cannot afford lawyers. Alan Chasney has had all kinds of trouble. Alan Chasney is the leader of the opposition. He can't get his cases heard. You have ministers of government talking about, they're now in office and they have the power to get back at people who criticize them. We accept all of that as normal living. Well, it ain't normal living. It is jungle living. And we very, very, well, we're already there. We really aren't shocked anymore to get up in the morning and hit 2 or 3 people who were killed. They don't even get mentioned. They're not even anymore your first item. There was a time when it was your first item. Now it's almost as if you forgot. Everybody forgets, like I told you yesterday. We just bury them on unmarked graves. So we have to stop chasing shadows and altogether understand where we are. That we are in an almost irreversible situation. Our politicians are there for their own sake first and foremost. They will shout and scream and talk a lot of nonsense, but deep down they are there primarily to get re-elected, both sides. You don't hear women in parliament talking anything about what it is like to be a woman in this country, what it is like to be a battered woman, what it is like to have 3 babies and you can't feed them and there's nothing you can do about the deadbeat dads. That is life, normal life in St. Lucia. So you take it from there and tell me if you think it's just the Prime Minister or 1 or 2 other people. The whole country is deep in the sewer, Tim. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. But all it takes is one individual to come forward and to lead the charge and to make the necessary changes. Now, rightly so, Julian Alfred will be celebrated. She returns to St. Lucia on the 24th amidst much fanfare, etc. And on the 27th is a national holiday. But will we be celebrating the 27th of September annually as Julian Alfred did? That question was posed to the Prime Minister, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, yesterday during that pre-cabinet press briefing.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I applaud you for giving me a trick question. I will discuss with the cabinet. I applaud that question. Right now, I have to discuss in the cabinet, but that's a very good question.
Right, to be addressed, to be discussed at the level of cabinet. But we know on the 27th of this month, it is Juju Day. That is a national holiday. Finally, from us, our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day reads, almost 200 people were killed last year trying to defend the environment. Almost 200 people were killed last year trying to defend the environment. That's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin. My name is Timothy Poleon. Be safe. Goodbye.